The galaxy was vast, endless, and dangerous. Every major star system belonged to an empire, alliance, or consortium of alien races. At the center of this intricate web of power, humans were considered little more than primitive survivors, stuck on a blue planet called Earth. They underestimated humanity. The Triumvirate Council, the leading authority of the known galaxy, had never taken the humans seriously. Their delegates, floating in crystalline chambers aboard the Draxian flagship Zephyros, murmured among themselves. "They cannot even leave their planet," hissed the arboreal emissary, its tendrils curling in annoyance. "Why bother? They are not advanced. They are not useful." The humans, however, had eyes everywhere. Their fleet was hidden at the edge of the Orion Verge, undetected by every Triumvirate scanner. Captain Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the Aurora, the lead human warship, staring at the holographic map of the galaxy. She was young, fierce, and brilliant. "They are arrogant," she said. "And arrogance can be turned into a weapon." Across the galaxy, the aliens believed humans were simple. Their technology was crude, their fleet small. But humans had something the galaxy had long forgotten: adaptability, ingenuity, and an instinct to survive against impossible odds. Earth had grown under constant threat: asteroid strikes, near extinctions, interstellar radiation storms. Humanity had survived, and in surviving, they had learned secrets no alien intelligence could imagine. Their ships were faster, smarter, and equipped with quantum adaptive engines, capable of appearing anywhere in the blink of an eye. Humans had learned to fight in ways that even the most advanced AI of the Triumvirate could not predict. The first encounter was subtle. A small Triumvirate patrol had drifted near human space, expecting an easy victory. The human fleet ambushed them. Lasers and plasma tore across the void, but the humans didn't fight like typical aggressors. They danced, disappeared, and reappeared, striking with surgical precision. "Impossible!" screamed the Draxian commander over the comms, his voice cracking. "How are they maneuvering like this? Our scanners show nothing." Alara's voice was calm, deadly. "You should have studied us first." The patrol was destroyed. Not a single human ship was lost. The galaxy's first taste of human ingenuity left the aliens shaken, whispering warnings that they refused to believe. The Triumvirate Council, far away in the glittering spire of Soren Prime, debated what to do. Some argued for immediate annihilation. Others suggested observation, claiming the humans might be a useful, if unpredictable, pawn in future conflicts. Meanwhile, humans were not just fighting, they were strategizing. In secret, they built the Exodus Array, a massive network of hidden bases, resource harvesters, and weapon platforms scattered across uncharted systems. Every move they made was deliberate, designed to exploit the overconfidence of the galaxy's empires. On Earth, the population knew nothing of the coming war. Children played under artificial skies, adults worked in factories and labs, oblivious to the fact that humans were about to announce themselves as masters of the stars. Only a few in the military command understood the stakes. Among them, Admiral Kiran Solis had a warning: "The galaxy will come for us, Alara. And when it does, they will think us weak. That's when we strike." Then came the diplomatic moment that shocked the galaxy. A Triumvirate envoy arrived in orbit over Mars. Towering, insectoid, and terrifying, it demanded a meeting. "Humans," it hissed, "you have expanded beyond your borders. You are insignificant. Withdraw or face eradication." Alara stepped onto the observation deck, looking up at the alien ship. Her eyes were steel. "Insignificant?" she said softly. Then she smiled. "You forgot one thing. We can fight back." The envoy recoiled, its mandibles clicking. "You dare threaten the Triumvirate?" "We don't threaten," Alara said. "We demonstrate. And by the time you understand, it will be too late." Behind her, the human fleet activated its hidden protocols. In the blink of an eye, the Martian sky was filled with shimmering human ships, appearing from jump points the aliens had not even detected. Plasma cannons flared, electronic warfare scrambled the invaders' systems, and in a matter of minutes, the envoy's flagship was crippled. Across the galaxy, transmissions picked up the fight. Every council chamber, every palace, every starship stopped. Humans, the underestimated species, had struck first. And they struck with brilliance. The galaxy would never forget Earth again. But this was only the beginning. Alara turned to her officers. "Prepare for retaliation," she said. "They will come. And when they do, we will be ready. They may think we are weak, but they are about to learn what it means to underestimate humans." The stars seemed to bend around her words, as if the universe itself was waiting to see how humanity would shape its destiny. And somewhere deep in the triumvirate's records, a new term began to circulate: the forgotten species. They had forgotten humans could fight back. Big mistake. The Triumvirate Council had never faced anything like the humans. Across the glittering expanse of Soren Prime, the council chambers buzzed with panic, an unusual sensation for beings accustomed to absolute control. Hololithic displays flickered with images of shattered Draxian ships and streaming telemetry from Mars' orbit. "They are impossible," said Lyris Cavell, the arboreal delegate, her leafy tendrils trembling. "Our fleets cannot predict them. Every strike is precise. Every move, calculated." The Triumvirate had prided itself on centuries of galactic dominance. Its species, arboreals, Draxians, Zanari and others, were masters of strategy, war and diplomacy. They had crushed revolts, devoured rivals and brokered empires. Yet humanity, primitive Earthlings, had humiliated their patrol. High Chancellor Velo, a luminescent Zanari whose thoughts moved faster than speech, slammed his appendages on the council dais. "We cannot ignore them. They expand, they hide, and they strike without warning. We underestimated their adaptability. It must end now." Meanwhile, humans were preparing for the inevitable retaliation. On the Aurora, Captain Ilara Voss convened her command staff. The ship hummed with energy, engines calibrated for jumps that no alien vessel could anticipate. The holographic table displayed the triumvirate fleets moving in 3 distinct waves: Draxians from the Orion Verge, Arboreals from the Verdant Belt, and Zanari carriers from the Outer Rim. Admiral Kieran Solis, grizzled and scarred from decades of interstellar command, tapped the display. "They'll come fast. Our strength lies in choice. We fight where we are strongest, not where they expect. We make the first strike, then vanish. Hit and run. Confuse them." Ilara nodded. "And they'll underestimate the humans again. Let them. Every miscalculation they make is a window. Every arrogance is an opening. We don't just survive. We dominate." As humans mobilized, intelligence reports revealed something unexpected. Factions within the Triumvirate were already questioning their leadership. Some argued the humans might be negotiated with, even coerced into allegiance. Others, driven by fear, pushed for total annihilation. On Earth, the population remained unaware, their cities bathed in artificial sunlight. Only the Global Defense Council knew the truth: humanity had become a rising apex power. Citizens continued their lives, oblivious, while fleets hidden in asteroid belts and gas giants prepared for war. The first human operation went deep into enemy territory. The target, a Draxian supply hub orbiting the volcanic planet Vorik. The humans executed a perfect ambush. Ships appeared from quantum jump points in waves, plasma cannons tearing through defenses before the aliens could react. Inside the Draxian command ship, Commander Thrax groaned as alarms blared. "How are they here? We had scanned the jump points. There was nothing." Ilara's voice crackled across the comm. "Prediction is a dangerous assumption, Commander. You assumed we were weak. You assumed we were predictable. Assumptions are costly mistakes." The hub erupted in flames. Humans captured critical data: fleet movements, supply lines, and communication protocols. But the attack was not just physical, it was psychological. Humans were teaching the galaxy a lesson. Underestimating them carried a price. In response, the Triumvirate launched a coordinated counteroffensive. Entire battle fleets converged toward the human systems. Zanari carriers, massive as moons, bristling with energy turrets, and Draxian dreadnoughts with armor layers capable of shrugging off conventional bombardments advanced with deadly precision. Yet humans were ready. They used adaptive quantum engines to manipulate space itself, appearing behind enemy lines, creating phantom fleets to divide attention, and hacking alien AI to turn weapons on their own allies. Every move was strategic, every sacrifice calculated. Amid the chaos, humans sent envoys to alien worlds, disguised as diplomacy but secretly sowing doubt within the Triumvirate ranks. On Verdantis, arboreal scholars whispered that humans were not mindless brutes but strategic geniuses. Zanari philosophers began debating if the humans' unpredictability was a form of higher intelligence. On the front lines, human pilots, strapped into suits with neural-linked ships, fought with synchronization that bordered on telepathy. Wing Commander Jai Tan led a squadron through asteroid storms, using gravitational distortions to blind Draxian sensors. They struck, vanished, and reappeared behind enemy lines, leaving devastation in their wake. During one such engagement, Jai transmitted a message to the Triumvirate fleet. "This is humanity. You think you are gods of war. You think you are untouchable. We are humans. We adapt. We survive. And when we strike, the galaxy remembers. Do not test us. The triumvirate received the message in shock. Never had a species spoken with such unyielding confidence. Even the most hardened commanders hesitated. As the war escalated, alliances within the triumvirate began to fray. Some factions secretly contacted humans, offering intelligence in exchange for protection or favor. The galaxy, once united in arrogance, now teetered on the edge of internal collapse. All because the humans had refused to be dismissed. On Earth, Ilara looked up at the stars, her mind racing with possibilities. This war is not just about survival, she told Kieran. It's about proving what humanity is capable of. Every strike, every move, every life we save, teaches the galaxy that humans are not a minor player. We are apex. And they will remember. For the first time, humanity was no longer the hunted. They were the hunters, shaping galactic politics, bending battles to their will, and exposing cracks in a 1,000-year empire. And the galaxy, arrogant and rigid, was unprepared for the full force of human ingenuity. But even as victories mounted, a new threat lurked, something darker than the triumvirate's fleets, something ancient and waiting in the shadows of the void. The war had begun. But humanity's true trial had only just arrived. The galaxy shuddered as news of humanity's daring strikes spread. Entire sectors whispered about the forgotten species, the humans who had defied centuries of galactic hierarchy. The Triumvirate Council convened an emergency session on Soren Prime, the luminescent towers glowing under the dim light of distant suns. Every delegate's voice was tinged with fear, some even panic. High Chancellor Velo's mandibles clicked impatiently. This is no longer a skirmish. They strike without warning, using tactics we cannot predict. Every fleet we send is shredded. They are not merely surviving, they are rewriting the rules of war. Lyris Cavell, the arboreal emissary, swayed nervously. We may need diplomacy. Perhaps humans can be reasoned with before we escalate further. Velo's eyes flared. Diplomacy failed when they obliterated the Draxian patrol. Every moment we hesitate, they gain strength, resources, and allies. They are the apex predators we ignored. And apex predators must be contained, or destroyed. Back in human space, Captain Ilara Voss watched the stars streak past the viewport of the Aurora. Intelligence reports showed triumvirate fleets massing in 3 sectors, Arboreal, Draxian, and Zanari, each bearing massive carriers, dreadnoughts, and energy battalions. This was the moment the galaxy had planned, full retaliation. Admiral Solis, Ilara said, her voice steady, they think overwhelming numbers will crush us. But numbers alone cannot match strategy. We will divide them, strike their weak points, and force them to fight on our terms. The humans' plan was audacious. The Aurora and its accompanying fleet would split into phantom squadrons, decoys designed to appear in multiple sectors simultaneously. Using quantum jump technology, human ships could blink across light years in moments, making a fleet of a dozen appear like hundreds. In the Draxian sector, Commander Thrax prepared his fleet. They cannot possibly be in multiple locations at once, he barked at his lieutenants. They are primitive. We will crush them in one strike and the rest will scatter. He was wrong. Human squadrons emerged from unexpected angles, behind asteroids, from the shadow of suns, and even within nebula clouds. Plasma cannons flared, tearing through shields that the Triumvirate had trusted for centuries. The Draxians, armored and confident, were thrown into chaos. Inside the human command ship, the bridge was tense. Wing Commander Jai Tan's squadron danced between enemy fire, their neural-linked ships moving as one. They're adapting to our patterns, he reported. But we're always one step ahead. Ilara's lips curved into a small smile. Let them think they can predict us. That is when we strike hardest. By the time the Draxians realized they were outmaneuvered, human forces had already crippled supply lines, disabled communications, and forced the alien fleet to retreat. Every move had been pre-calculated, every attack designed to instill both fear and awe. Meanwhile, the Arboreals and Zanari attempted to flank human territory. On Verdantis, Lyris Cavell watched as her fleet collided with human decoy squadrons. She quickly realized the humans were not just fighting, they were performing a psychological war. Their decoys vanished mid-battle, leaving the triumvirate forces striking nothing but empty space. Panic spread. On the Zanari side, carriers bristling with energy cannons fell victim to precise, surgical strikes. Human ships seemed to anticipate their moves, slipping through corridors of space with impossible agility. The Zanari, masters of strategy for centuries, were reduced to confusion and desperation. Amid the battles, humans employed diplomacy and subterfuge simultaneously. Secret envoys contacted dissenting factions within the triumvirate, offering alliances, resources, or safe passage in exchange for information or sabotage. Humans turned the arrogance of their enemies into a weakness. During one critical moment, Ilara and High Chancellor Velo communicated across a disrupted channel. Velo's voice was furious but tinged with fear. "Humans, how do you fight like this? Your tactics defy logic." Ilara leaned forward, calm and unyielding. "Logic is limited by imagination. We are humans. You assumed we were weak. You assumed we were predictable. That was your mistake." Velo recoiled, realizing that for the first time, he faced a species that would not bow to centuries of intimidation. "You are not like any species I have known," he admitted, voice trembling. "No," Ilara said softly. "We are humans, and we are just beginning." The battles raged across multiple systems, but humans never lost focus. They targeted supply lines, communication arrays, and command ships. Alien admirals found themselves hunted, manipulated, and defeated in engagements that should have been easy victories. The galaxy was learning a new truth. Intelligence, cunning, and adaptability could outmatch brute force every time. But not all humans fought in space. On Earth, elite ground forces were preparing for planetary defense in case the triumvirate attempted a direct strike. Using advanced AI, autonomous drones, and biomechanical enhancements, human soldiers trained to anticipate every possible scenario. Even the most hardened alien strategists would find themselves outmaneuvered. In orbit over the gas giant Nixian, Ilara's fleet engaged the final wave of the triumvirate counterattack. 4 hours, energy flares and plasma storms lit the void. Ships disintegrated, engines exploded, and sensors were scrambled. Yet humans pressed forward, executing maneuvers that alien commanders could neither predict nor counter. By nightfall, in every system of engagement, human supremacy was evident. Entire fleets of the triumvirate had been decimated. Alien emissaries sent reports back to their councils, warnings that were dismissed as panic, until they were verified in the aftermath. In the quiet moments after the battles, Ilara addressed her officers. "This is only the beginning. They will come again stronger. But they will never outthink us. They will never understand us. Humanity has survived worse than this, and we always rise. Remember this, the galaxy will remember Earth. They will remember humans. And they will never forget." Even as the human fleet celebrated its victories, in the darkness beyond the edge of the known galaxy, something stirred, an ancient intelligence older than the triumvirate, watching the rise of humanity with an interest that chilled even the bravest human minds. The war had escalated beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. Humans were no longer underestimated. They were feared. But the true test, the one that would reveal the ultimate potential of humanity, was yet to come. The triumvirate had underestimated humans, and they would not make that mistake twice. Across the galaxy, emergency war councils convened, fleets mobilized, and ancient superweapons dusted off from deep space arsenals. Even the most arrogant commanders admitted it, humanity was not just a threat, they were a revelation. On Soren Prime, High Chancellor Velo paced his chamber. "We were careless," he admitted, his luminescent skin dimming with anger. "They've shattered our fleets, humiliated our admirals, and now they influence our allies. We cannot defeat them with conventional tactics. We need innovation. We need unpredictability. And above all, we need numbers." He gestured to the galactic map, displaying human-controlled space and the locations of their hidden bases. "Target their supply lines. Attack their colonies. Cut them off from resources. Make them bleed. Let them know they are not invincible." But the humans had anticipated this. Captain Ilara Voss, aboard the Aurora, reviewed intercepted communications with Admiral Kieran Solis. "They'll strike harder, faster, and with more at stake," she said. "We expected this. Our decoys, hidden fleets, and sabotage units are ready. We turn their strength into weakness. Every attack they make will lead them into our trap." The first assault came at the asteroid fortress of Karath, a key human staging ground on the fringe of Draxian space. Dozens of Draxian dreadnoughts emerged from jump points, energy weapons glowing, engines roaring. The aliens believed a direct strike would overwhelm the humans. They were wrong. Ilara's fleet had prepared a perfect counter. Quantum decoys appeared across the system, leading the Draxians to chase empty space. Simultaneously, cloaked human vessels launched from orbital hangars, striking command ships with plasma torpedoes designed to bypass even the heaviest shields. Commander Thrax's communication line was flooded with garbled messages as AI and electronic warfare scrambled systems. "Impossible," he roared. "Our calculations are perfect. How are they predicting us?" "How?" Ilara's voice cut through the chaos. "You assumed we were predictable. You assumed we were weak. That was your first mistake. And your last." While the Draxians flailed, human engineers deployed automated mining drones as improvised weapons. Asteroids were shifted into calculated orbits, smashing enemy ships with precise gravitational strikes. Alien fleets, despite superior numbers, suffered catastrophic losses. In the aftermath, human spies and covert agents activated sabotage in enemy territory. Communications were disrupted, supply lines poisoned, and even entire fleet divisions were misled into attacking one another. The humans had mastered not only war but the art of manipulating fear, chaos, and overconfidence. Meanwhile, in the Zanari sector, Admiral Tuarvesh led a fleet of carriers and heavy frigates to crush humanity's outposts. But human scouts had already detected them. Using the treacherous gravity wells of the nebula Maelstrom, human squadrons forced the Zanari into ambushes, annihilating entire wings of their fleet. Wing Commander Jaitan executed maneuvers that defied physics, or so the Zanari thought. Ships seemed to vanish into the void, only to reappear behind enemy lines, striking from impossible angles. Every strike carried psychological weight. Every human ship that survived reinforced the legend of invincibility. While space burned, Ilara dispatched envoys to factions within the Triumvirate. Some Arboreals had already begun questioning Velo's command, secretly feeding human intelligence about fleet movements and weaknesses. Humans exploited this internal division, ensuring that the Triumvirate's retaliation would always be fractured. Even on Earth, the human populace remained unaware of the full scope of the war. Soldiers trained under artificial suns, preparing for planetary defense, while scientists refined weapon systems and defenses capable of withstanding orbital bombardments. Humanity's strength lay in its layered defense. If the enemy reached Earth, they would find a planet ready for total war. Then came the shocking twist. Deep in uncharted space, an unknown alien entity, a presence older than the Triumvirate itself, stirred. A colossal warship, black as a void and impossibly vast, appeared near human-controlled territory. Its technology was beyond comprehension. Shields that seemed invulnerable, weapons that could pierce entire fleets, and an AI that moved with an almost sentient intelligence. Ilara watched the readings carefully. "They're observing us," she whispered. "Not attacking, yet. But this presence, it's different. Ancient. Calculating. Dangerous." Admiral Solis frowned. Could it be the Triumvirate's ultimate weapon? "No," Ilara said, shaking her head. "This is something older. Something outside their control. And it's watching us. Learning." As the Triumvirate launched their coordinated assault across multiple fronts, humans executed a series of breathtaking counterattacks. They sacrificed small fleets to lure larger enemy forces into traps, manipulated alien AI to turn weapons inward, and used hidden jump points to strike undefended command centers. During one critical confrontation, Ilara directly communicated with a Zanari admiral whose fleet had been decimated. "You are not fighting humans," she said calmly. "You are fighting evolution itself. We adapt. We survive. We rise. Every defeat you inflict only teaches us, and every victory you claim will be hollow." The admiral, shaken and desperate, could only respond, "You are impossible." Ilara's eyes glimmered with determination. "Yes, we are humans, and the galaxy will remember that." By the end of the campaign, the Triumvirate had suffered losses unprecedented in their history. Entire fleets were gone, key command structures compromised, and internal dissent had reached a breaking point. Even as the galaxy reeled from shock, whispers of an even greater threat, the ancient presence watching from beyond the edge of known space, began to circulate. For the first time, humans faced a foe they had not directly challenged, yet their ingenuity and adaptability gave them hope. They were no longer the hunted. They were hunters shaping the very future of the galaxy. Ilara turned to her officers, her gaze hard. "This war is far from over. The Triumvirate will strike again, and something else is out there, something ancient. But humanity has survived worse than this. We will rise. We will adapt. And when the galaxy finally understands, they will know the truth. Humans are not just strong. We are unstoppable." Above the burning stars in the silent void, the ancient presence observed. And somewhere deep in the darkness, it stirred, sensing potential it had never seen before. a species capable of challenging the cosmos itself. The next chapter of humanity's rise was about to begin. The galaxy had changed. Entire star systems bore the scars of human ingenuity. The triumvirate, once arrogant in their supremacy, now trembled at the mention of Earth. Fleets were shattered, planets destabilized, and the legend of the forgotten species spread like wildfire. But even as humans celebrated victories, a deeper threat loomed, one older than empires, older than the galaxy itself. Captain Ilara Voss stood on the bridge of the Aurora, her eyes tracing the patterns of stars that hid jump points, ambush zones, and enemy movements. Reports of a colossal alien presence had begun circulating. Massive vessels, blacker than the void, appeared and disappeared without warning, leaving entire fleets in ruins. Its technology was unlike anything humans, or even the triumvirate, had seen. It was an intelligence older than the oldest star, calculating every move with patience that spanned millennia. Admiral Kiran Solis approached, grim-faced. "It's observing us. Not attacking, yet. But the readings are terrifying. It can disable entire fleets before they even realize they're under assault." Ilara's voice was calm but resolute. "Then we show it what humans are capable of. We survive. We adapt. We fight. We win." The first major battle began near the system of Venos, a neutral sector rich in resources and strategic positions. The triumvirate, desperate to regain momentum, launched a massive assault, combining Draxian dreadnoughts, Zanari carriers, and arboreal strike wings. Their plan was simple: overwhelm the humans with numbers, crush their fleet, and restore order. But humans had anticipated every move. Quantum decoys appeared across the battlefield, creating phantom fleets that distracted enemy sensors. Cloaked human ships slipped past enemy lines, striking command vessels with plasma torpedoes that shredded shields thought to be invulnerable. Electronic warfare disrupted alien coordination, turning superior numbers into chaos. Wing Commander Jai Tan's squadron maneuvered through asteroid fields, weaving gravitational traps with the precision of a master choreographer. Entire squadrons of Draxian ships collided with debris or were ambushed mid-battle, leaving their commanders bewildered and terrified. Amid the chaos, a shocking betrayal shook the human command. One of the triumvirate's factions, secretly negotiating with humanity, had leaked false intelligence. Human forces nearly walked into a trap, a massive ambush that could have annihilated a third of their fleet. Ilara's mind raced. "Divert all squadrons Alpha and Beta to intercept," she ordered. "We adapt. We survive. Every mistake is an opportunity. Remember who we are." In moments, humans turned the trap into a decisive advantage. False intelligence lured the triumvirate forces into a dense asteroid belt, where gravitational manipulations and prepositioned mines decimated their lines. Command ships were destroyed, morale shattered, and alien fleets began retreating in disarray. While the triumvirate reeled, the ancient presence revealed itself. From the void, colossal vessels emerged, their size eclipsing moons, their hulls shimmering with incomprehensible energy. Entire fleets were obliterated without a single shot being fired. Alien warships fell silent, their AI systems overloaded, weapons shredded by unknown forces. Ilara's bridge was tense. "This is different," she said. "This isn't the triumvirate. This is something else. Something older. Something that watches, waits, and judges." Admiral Solis clenched his fists. "We've survived worse than numbers. We've survived against empires. We can survive this." The humans' first encounter with the ancient presence was brutal and awe-inspiring. Ships disappeared into the void, energy fields warped the very space around them, and communications were scrambled by an intelligence that seemed to anticipate every possible response. Yet humans were not defeated, they adapted. Scientists aboard the Aurora worked feverishly to analyze the alien presence. They discovered that its technology, though incomprehensible, operated on principles that could be reverse-engineered with human ingenuity. Using adaptive algorithms and quantum computing, humans began to develop strategies to evade its attacks, creating new types of vessels capable of countering its influence. Meanwhile, Ilara issued a daring order, a surgical strike on the triumvirate fleets still engaged in Venos. Using the chaos caused by the ancient presence, human forces attacked with surgical precision, crippling command structures and forcing alien units to surrender or flee. Even as they fought against an incomprehensible intelligence, humans refused to yield. During the battle, a Zanari admiral, defeated and terrified, transmitted a message: "Humanity, you are beyond reason. You adapt too fast, impossible." Ilara's response was calm, almost serene. We are humans, and humans survive. We fight. We adapt. And we never ever surrender. The war had reached a turning point. The Triumvirate's fleets were fractured, demoralized, and terrified of both humanity and the ancient presence. Internal betrayals had revealed their vulnerability, and the galaxy was beginning to realize that humans were no ordinary species. They were apex predators in every sense. Even as the ancient intelligence observed, humanity learned, adapted, and evolved. Ships that once seemed fragile became nearly invincible. Strategies that once seemed impossible became routine. Every attack, every survival, every adaptation amplified humanity's legend. Elara knew the war was far from over. The Triumvirate would regroup. The ancient presence would continue to watch and test. But humans had a new advantage: their ability to think beyond limits, to innovate in the face of annihilation, and to survive when all hope seemed lost. "This is our galaxy now," Elara said to her officers. "They may outnumber us. They may outthink us. They may be older and stronger. But they are not human. We survive. We adapt. We fight. And we win. Remember that." As the stars of Vanos glowed with the fires of battle, humanity had proven once again that it was not a species to be underestimated. The galaxy had learned a new truth: humans were unstoppable, unbreakable, and capable of turning even the shadow of the ancients into a proving ground for their supremacy. The legend of the forgotten species was now a reality, and the galaxy would never be the same. The void itself seemed to shiver as the ancient presence extended its influence across the galaxy. Entire star systems were destabilized, and the triumvirate fleets, already fractured and demoralized, were in full retreat. Yet humanity did not falter. From the hidden bastions scattered across uncharted space, human engineers, strategists, and soldiers prepared for the decisive battle. Captain Elara Voss stood on the bridge of the Aurora, her eyes reflecting the endless stars. Around her, officers worked tirelessly, calculating jump points, energy yields, and enemy behavior patterns. "This is it," she said quietly. "The galaxy watches. The ancients watch. And we will prove that humans are not just survivors. We are apex predators of this cosmos." Admiral Kiran Solis nodded. "We've adapted to everything the Triumvirate threw at us. We've survived impossible odds. This is another test, but it is one we will pass." The first maneuver was daring. Human fleets, utilizing adaptive quantum engines, converged on the ancient presence's observation fleet. They did not attack directly, they studied, mapped, and probed. Every energy pulse, every spatial distortion, every weapon discharge was analyzed. Humans were learning the enemy's patterns, and they were learning fast. Wing Commander Jai Tan led a reconnaissance squadron through the edge of the entity's influence. Ships slipped between gravitational anomalies, their neural-linked pilots moving with a precision no alien could match. Every encounter, every near-death experience, was catalogued and analyzed. Humans turned fear into knowledge and knowledge into power. Suddenly, a massive energy surge erupted. Entire ships disintegrated in a flash of incomprehensible force. The ancient presence was aware, and it was testing them. Elara activated the Aurora's countermeasures. Adaptive shields at maximum. All squadrons, hold formation. Observe patterns. Don't fire unless we know the outcome. This is not a fight yet. This is learning. Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by the hum of engines and the occasional flare of distant combat. Humans recorded everything. They understood that this ancient intelligence operated not with brute force alone, but with foresight, predicting moves before they were made. Then came the revelation. Scientists aboard the Aurora discovered a vulnerability, an energy resonance within the entity's vessels, subtle fluctuations that, if exploited, could disrupt its spatial matrix. But doing so would require precision unmatched by any known weapon, coordination that bordered on telepathy, and nerves of steel. Elara looked at her officers. "This is our moment. The galaxy waits. History watches. We strike not with force, but with brilliance. Every maneuver, every decision must be perfect. Humans do not survive by chance. We survive because we think, adapt, and execute where others fail." The attack plan was audacious. Human fleets split into hundreds of phantom squadrons, converging from multiple angles simultaneously. Ships synchronized neural-linked maneuvers to exploit the resonance pattern discovered by their scientists. Cloaked vessels disrupted the entity's sensor matrix while energy volleys targeted the weak points. The battle erupted. The void shimmered as humans executed maneuvers thought impossible. Entire squadrons vanished into quantum jumps, reappearing behind enemy lines. Weapons fired with surgical precision, exploiting resonance flaws. Ships of the ancient presence disintegrated in controlled bursts, their incomprehensible power countered by human ingenuity. High Chancellor Velo's voice crackled across comms. How is this possible? They should be annihilated. Ilara's response was calm and unwavering. You forgot. Humans survive. Humans adapt. And humans fight in ways you cannot comprehend. As the battle raged, human intelligence operatives orchestrated a galaxy-wide network of disruption. Alien communication lines were hacked, fleets misdirected, and entire planetary systems leveraged as defensive bastions. Humanity was no longer reacting, they were orchestrating the war itself. Even as the ancient presence attempted to predict every human move, it found itself outmatched. The humans did not follow patterns, they created chaos within precision. Their adaptability was instantaneous, their ingenuity unmatched. Every attack was a lesson, every maneuver a proof of evolution itself. Then came the decisive moment. Ilara personally led the strike squadron into the heart of the entity's fleet. Ships moved in perfect harmony, exploiting every vulnerability, every spatial anomaly, every calculated risk. The resonance weapons fired, and in a flash of blinding energy, the ancient presence's vessels shuddered, destabilized, and finally broke apart. The galaxy watched in awe. Where an entity older than stars had once held dominion, humans now stood victorious. Their fleets remained intact, their ingenuity unbroken, their resilience proven. The triumvirate, fractured and humbled, realized that they were no longer rulers, they were witnesses. Ilara's voice echoed across comms, firm and proud. The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long. We are survivors, thinkers, warriors. We adapt. We endure. And we rise. Let this be the lesson every species remembers: humans are apex. And humanity's time has come. Even as the remnants of the triumvirate fled to rebuild, the legend of the forgotten species spread like wildfire. Humanity had not only survived the impossible, they had conquered it, adapted it, and transcended it. And in the void, where the ancient presence had once observed, a subtle shift occurred. Humanity had proven its worth not just to the galaxy, but to the cosmos itself. The stars shone brighter. Humanity had ascended. The galaxy was quiet but not peaceful. Stars glimmered in the void, distant suns illuminating planets scarred by war. Humanity had survived the impossible, defeated the triumvirate's greatest fleets, and even challenged an ancient presence older than the cosmos itself. Yet the question lingered: what would humanity do with such power? Captain Ilara Voss stood on the bridge of the Aurora, her gaze sweeping across human-claimed space. Fleet formations glittered like constellations, hidden bases bristled with advanced technology, and colonies thrived under Earth's guidance. Every decision, every battle, every sacrifice had led to this moment. Humanity was no longer underestimated, they were the standard by which the galaxy would measure strength. Admiral Kiran Solis approached, his face lined with fatigue but illuminated by pride. "We've won," he said simply. "But the galaxy is fractured. The triumvirate is in pieces and others are watching, waiting. What now?" Ilara turned to him, her eyes fierce. "We don't just survive. We lead. We protect. We reshape the galaxy, but not as tyrants. Humans are apex, yes, but we do not dominate blindly. We teach, we guide, and if anyone challenges us, they learn the cost of underestimating humans." The first step was diplomacy. Human envoys reached out to fractured factions of the triumvirate, offering protection, technology, and alliances. Many were humbled, bowing to the species that had defied odds, outsmarted empires, and survived the incomprehensible. Humanity had become a symbol, one that inspired awe and fear in equal measure. On Verdantis, arboreal scholars marveled at the humans' achievements. "They are unlike any species we have known," whispered Lyris Cavell, who had secretly aligned with humanity during the war. "Their ingenuity, their courage, their adaptability, it is extraordinary. We were fools to doubt them." Even the remnants of the ancient presence, once a threat beyond comprehension, had withdrawn. Observing humanity's rise, it recognized that the species had transcended expectations. It did not attack again, it had learned that humans were no ordinary species. Yet humanity's greatest triumph was not in fleets or technology, it was in their resilience, their cunning, and their unity. Across countless star systems, humans rebuilt worlds, integrated alien allies, and established the Council of the New Stars, a coalition dedicated to preserving peace, encouraging growth, and preventing the rise of tyranny. Ilara oversaw the first assembly. Representatives from hundreds of species attended, many with fear and admiration in their eyes. She addressed them, voice firm, commanding, and yet warm. Centuries of arrogance led the galaxy to forget one truth: humans can fight, adapt, and endure beyond what any empire imagined. We are not gods. We are not conquerors for the sake of power. But we are apex because we survive, we learn, and we rise. Together we can build a galaxy where ingenuity is rewarded, survival is celebrated, and the stars belong to those who dare to shape them. The assembly erupted in cautious applause. Some aliens still doubted, but most had witnessed the humans' brilliance firsthand. The galaxy had been changed forever. In orbit above the planet Elysium Prime, Ilara walked the observation deck of the Aurora, reflecting on the journey. From primitive Earth to interstellar power, humanity had risen against impossible odds. Entire fleets had been shattered, ancient intelligences challenged, and empires humbled, all because humans refused to be underestimated. Admiral Solis joined her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "They'll never forget this," he said quietly. "No," Ilara replied. "They'll never forget humanity. They'll tell stories for millennia about the species that survived the impossible, outsmarted the invincible, and rose from nothing to become apex. The camera of history would remember the battles. Vanos, Karath, the ambushes in the nebula Maelstrom. It would remember humanity's cunning, their sacrifices, and their brilliance. But more importantly, it would remember the lesson the galaxy had learned: underestimate humans and pay the ultimate price. Across the stars, hidden fleets continued to patrol, colonies expanded, and research stations pushed the limits of knowledge. Humanity had not stopped at survival, they had transcended it. Their fleets gleamed like swords in the void, their colonies thrived under careful stewardship, and their influence spread as both shield and inspiration across countless worlds. And somewhere, in the darkest reaches of the void, the echoes of the ancient presence whispered across the cosmos, acknowledging what no one else could deny: humanity had earned its place among the stars. Not by luck, not by inherited power, but through resilience, intellect, courage, and the indomitable human spirit. Ilara looked out into the galaxy, the stars reflecting in her eyes. "They forgot humans could fight back," she whispered. "Big mistake. And now, they will remember forever." The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity had risen. And the legend of the forgotten species had become the reality of the apex species. The stars were no longer distant. They belonged to humanity.